Welcome to Comfort Havoc number 2, TikTok. So, alright, this is a martial art video. Hopefully you guys can see me. Alright? So, first and foremost, understand that this is about environmenting. This is an environmenting. Fuck, I cannot talk today. This is an environmental training video. Alright? So in a minute, I'm going to turn the camera to that tree and give you guys the tree technique. And I'm going to turn the camera to this tree. There's a hole here, so that makes it a little bit difficult. And then the trees here. We are not going to do too much springing off of trees, but know that it is doable. Alright? First thing you need to understand before you go any further, please do not attempt anything you see my crazy ass doing. You could possibly be hurt or unalive yourself without even trying. The purpose of this video is letting you know that you need to be able to fight in every environment, not just the dojo. So when you are done training in your dojo and you have a park or a trail which is relatively close to home, or at least publicly acknowledged so that everybody can come, and that way you let somebody know where you are at all times, just in case an accident happens. So the first thing you gotta understand is, as a martial artist, it is my job to tell you the truth, right? It is my job to unequivocally make sure that you are safe while training. It is my job to make sure that you should know that if your teacher doesn't invest in you, then you need to invest in yourself. And if you are a teacher, you need to invest in your students. I do not know what that red line is. Over top of that, come get a look up where it disappeared. I will try to invite you, but I'm pretty sure it won't work. Okay, it's not working. I don't know why TikTok, it's got to be my phone, man. It won't let me let anybody in, but thanks for being here. And for everyone who is here, I hope that I teach you something today. Alright, so we're going to angle at this tree without dropping. Yes, this tree. Now, you're going to train. Please watch where you train so that you know you won't accidentally set yourself up for a major fall or fail. Does this thing even get enough of the tree? Okay. I hope you guys can see me. You won't be needing to do any of this today, or any of this today, or even that. It is done, but for the purpose of this tree technique is to keep this tree between your opponent and yourself. So if you are not a really good fighter, you're going to need a barrier of protection. Your opponent is not invincible. They're not going to kick down this tree. They're not. In the event that they can, then you should probably pay them to just protect you. Okay? But in the event before you can pay them to protect you, you need to be able to protect yourself. So if your opponent is over here, you will step over here, deliver a kick, or deliver a punch. Same concept, kick or a punch. Why is this necessary? Because you might not be that strong. And if you are not a strong fighter, this is your best bet. All right? Your environment around you decides your fate. If you're fighting in public with a lot of people, the only thing that's going to decide is how many people are going to flock around and watch you get your ass kicked. All right? Understand that people like seeing people fight. All right? That's why it's a professional for some people who are actually lucky enough to get signed to ONE or REC or whatever it is, and UFC, and all of the other big names that hire fighters. All right, I was never that blessed because I'm 5'3" and 125 pounds. They didn't have my weight class until I got in the Army, and now I have a fucked up ass hip, so that shit's not gonna work. But that does not make me any less of an actual fighter compared to people that you are all following today. Understand that in fighting, there are only survivors. You win or lose skirmishes, You win or lose professional fights, but when you out here, there's only survivors. Understand how that shit works. This is reality right here. Any professional sport, you're getting a paycheck. There's rules and regulations in a professional sport. In a real fight, there are no rules and no regulations, and people are going to come at you hard, fast, and continuously, and they don't give a flying fuck what belt you are rocking. All right? So anything you can do in the dojo, you need to be able to do out here. I hope that is clear. So, boom, boom, boom. Now, you got to make sure it's on this side because this guy is over here. So, boom, step, boom, step. If you are a stronger kicker than puncher, then you want to definitely be able to use your kicks. Downside is that guy can sidestep, and if he's currently watching this video, he's learning everything that I'm teaching you. So you're going to have to switch the game up on your own when you decide what you want to do. All right? So, low, high, high, low, medium, understand your range. This was not far enough to do any damage. So I would need to be out here, 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 so that you can see everything that I'm doing. All right? Sorry, Granddaddy Longlegs. You're in my view. So, same side. Boom, 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 boom. This left leg does not work as good as this right leg due to the hip replacement. So, I need to compensate. Understand you need to compensate in fights regardless. Compensating, adapting, thin line between the two, but you need to understand it. Now, if you screw up and you wound up over here, you just have to get back over here. So if he throws a punch, boom, hits his hand on the tree, boom, hits his hand on the tree, you get behind the tree. He's going to take his hand back to recover. Now, in the event that he's holding you, like he has your chest and pushing you against the tree, you need to cover up. All right? Without a training partner, I cannot give you an accurate depiction of what you're supposed to do. Understand, I don't have a training partner, so it's really hard for me to bring you videos in which I want to show you, which is what I need to teach you, versus what I can show you as an improvised version. So he's got you, he's pushing you against the tree. Your first instinct is probably to grab this. My first instinct to tell you is to hit him in the nuts. He's going to go down a little bit, and then you hit him at your forehead. If you don't think that you can pull that off, then don't do that. Do what your gut tells you. If you're holding his arms like this, while he's got one arm between your arms, take that arm that's farthest away from you, which would be your left, and you got this arm. So he's like this. Maybe y'all can see it this way. You're right here. He's got his whole forearm and stuff against your chest. So you're going to take both of your arms under his arm. You're going to take your left hand and put it on the outside. Your right hand is going to be on the inside. You're going to push this in here. It's going to pinch your hand, without a doubt. But as it pinches your hand, put your two knuckles into his bicep. So your hands will be like this, because it's his left arm. Your hands will be like this and like this. So you're going to put this one outside, this one inside to his bicep, and you're going to push his arm into his bicep. And then you got to do this in like bracket timing because he's about to throw a punch to your face. Let's not forget I said he's holding you because he's getting ready to punch you. So he's basically like this. He's drawing back. Can y'all see that? He's like this. You're against the tree. He's drawing back. So he's getting ready to fuck your shit up. Your arms are like this. You're going to put your left hand this way and your right hand this way because it's his left arm holding you. Because majority of the world is right-handed. So it's going to be his right hand he's going to try to punch you with. And do the opposite. If it's his right arm holding you, do the opposite. Just do the opposite. It's not that difficult. Martial arts, a lot of people don't seem to tell y'all as I get in front of you. A lot of people will not tell you or cannot tell you or don't want to tell you that a lot of martial arts is just fucking common sense. It really is. A lot of shit is more fucking simple than you think. The moves that aren't simple are your show-off moves. Those are your shits for TV, action movies, and shit like that. And in real life, your chance of using them is slim to zero. All right? Just keep the shit real. Slim to zero. And it's my job as a martial artist to make sure you know that. So, if he's got you this way, You're going to push his arm into his chest and put your knuckles in this arm, like this, into that. So when you're pushing it, the more force you push, and there's a good chance you're going to sacrifice your own hand for this, but you're driving your two knuckles into his bicep. So when he's like this and you're driving this, he's going to come down because you're pushing him away. So when he's getting far enough away from you, then you can slide behind the tree and pull him because you have your arm still there. Pull him into the tree. He hits the tree, then you commence to kick him off. All right? Now when he hits this tree, it's going to hurt. Nobody's tougher than fucking solid oak. Okay? They can pretend to be tougher, and they got these kids going around beating all this shit off. Okay, that's fine and dandy until somebody loses a fucking hand. Or the ability to use their hand. Understand a couple of things in fighting. Your hand is, hello everybody. Your hand is the easiest part of your body to break. Regardless of how tough you think it is, no matter how many bricks and stones you can break, your hand is the easiest thing to break. Don't let anybody else tell you that you can't. Your hand is the easiest thing on the body to break. All right? That's why when I tell people you're going to throw a punch, you tap it out. You put enough power behind it, like a 1-inch punch, but with a little bit more force. But you don't throw it all the way out there because you're going to get somebody who knows Kempo, and they know the shit that I learned. Boom! You throw that jab, and I strike your hand, I'm hitting right here. All of that. The harder you throw that punch, the better it is for me. Because I'll crack that shit. You're not going to think that I'm going to go and punch your hand. Most people get into a fight, they assume they're going to get hit in the face. They don't think that when they throw a jab, someone's going to do a short right or a short left and crack a hand. You can crack somebody's hand, you can do some serious shit to them. All right, so we're going to get off the tree and move you guys back over to where hopefully I can get full body. I don't know if this has even got me. So, understanding your environment is making sure that's like the key part of the fight of where you are. If you're fighting anywhere in the wilderness, you got rocks. You can't pick those up. I can't pick those up, but you can damn sure trip somebody. Now, for the sake of argument, please do not do that because you can unalive somebody without even trying, and that is not what we do. We do not teach you to unalive people on YouTube or Instagram. I mean, I can. I actually have, but it is probably not the best idea I've had. Which is, again, why I said you want to be careful at what you use while you're fighting somebody. Yeah, you can pick up these little sticks. You know. But in the end, the only real weapon you're ever going to need is your major 6. Fist, forearms, elbows, your major 8. Knees and feet. Alright? The reason why I say that is because 9 times out of 10, you're going to pick up a stick and not know what the fuck to do with it. It's the same people just going around talking about some good guy with a gun. Half the people who have guns have only shot animals that have a conscience and a soul, but no ability to defend themselves. That means they're probably hunters. Most people who have guns, if you've ever actually shot someone, it better have been your job. Right? It better have been your job. But a lot of people don't understand how fighting works. Right? A lot of people that you follow, you will see them do this fancy shit that I'm about to attempt. I don't really want to get dirty. Ooh, B. Anyway, so jumping, spinning back kick. Okay? So you can do that. The problem is the other fighter. Okay? In any fighting scenario, your game plan is okay to have. The problem is the person that you are fighting also has a game plan. And for some reason, when you watch these YouTube videos or you watch Instagram or TikTok, everybody tends to leave off the opponent's game plan. All right? No matter what you watch or who you follow, pay attention to the shit that they say. None of them put out the game plan. What was that? Sorry. Anyway, most of the people that you follow on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, etc., they don't really have a game plan, and they don't tell you the other person's game plan. So when you are being trained, you need to be trained properly, You know, not every side kick is always going to be effective. The double side kick isn't always effective, so you stick with basic. Step in, side kick. Your opponent is also going to have a game plan. If your opponent is a martial artist, he's going to pretty much know the same stuff that you do depending on what style they have taken. You know, you can do capoeira out here. You can do drunken master out. You can do the animal styles. Wherever you go train, after you train, practice in an environment like this. Because you need to be able to fight in every environment. I tell you stick to basics for a reason. Because if I do this jumping spinning back kick and a foot sweep, there's so many ways you can avoid that shit. So here's a jumping spinning back kick. You can duck it. You ain't even gotta duck it. Just stop short. Like if this is my mark, and I'm right here, and I'm expecting you to run right into this. I see you coming, I brace. See how I missed my mark? All you'd had to do, wait for it, sidestep. When I land, boom. It's a kick. Simple. Think about fighting. Think about the people you follow. They're not telling you that the guy you're about to fight has a game plan. Your game plan is simple. I got this game plan. I'm going to go in here. I'm a badass. I'm going to do all this shit because I got a black belt. I said this before. I'll say it again. And I will piss off a fuck ton of martial artists, professional fighters, might even piss off Jesus, which is okay. This is a belt too. It holds up my pants. Your martial art belt is part of your uniform, and it is only ranking, and it only counts in a school setting. Understand that shit. I've beaten black belts sparring, doing shit like this, that they've never seen before. Because they're stuck in traditional stuff. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with tradition. However, in the middle of a fight, you better learn how to adapt, especially if tradition is beating your ass. Understand that shit. If I go for a Shaolin foot sweep forward, you can see me do that because you can see me crouch and get ready. Now, you can still see me, boom, step. You can still see me crouch. So there's no difference between whatever footstep I use. It's all on your game plan versus my game plan, your skill set versus my skill set. Now, we're both equally skilled. We're going to have fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. Simple as that. But if I know you are a little bit more skilled than me, I have to bring out shit. I have to bring out shit that they don't teach you in school. Hopefully you guys can see me spring off this tree. I have to bring off shit that's going to change the game. Cause see, whoa! If you can't adapt in your fight, god damn it. This would be so much better if I actually had a cameraman. I hope you guys can see me, because I can't reply to anything. If you guys can understand how important adapting is into a fight, if you can understand everything I just did will work, it just looks cooler in the movies. The problem is, who am I fighting? If I'm fighting somebody who is well more skilled than me, but they don't know this environment, I got them dead to rights because they don't know this layout. I know this layout. I can Rambo the shit out of them. Not just because it's a holiday, not just because I am a vet, but because this is my layout. I walk this trail almost every fucking day when it's a day like this. I've played in these backwoods when I discovered it, you know, just out of high school. I filmed on this very spot where my film has been stolen, but I have filmed right all over here, running through there, all that shit. I know my environment, and though erosion has happened, and all kinds of other elemental shit like the grass growing too tall, I know where I'm at. You understand? So I might not be able to beat you with pure strength and skill by itself. But extra knowledge of my environment, that's just gonna save my ass anywhere. That's why I say, walk a few trails, study everything, get to know where you are, know your environment, know how to use your environment, learn the tree technique. There aren't too many schools that teach it, if any at all. I'm blessed to be 48 and learned it two ways. I learned it from a teacher, but I also learned it from a movie called Jim Cotta. So then I changed up some shit, started combining what the teacher taught me, plus Jim Cotta, plus my own special flair of what you saw me springing off the tree from Captain America. Anyway, point being made, I'm also part native, so I am one with this. Uh-oh, something done happened here. Oh, okay, cool. I accept. Oh, what the hell? Why didn't it stay? Hey, do that again. Come back. Because input is great. I like input. Please come back, because I can't invite people, but I can damn sure accept. Please come back. It just allowed me to accept that. I'm so happy that it actually did that. So please, come back. Come back before my battery dies. I'm at 80%. Now my laptop's doing pretty good. Whoever you are, please come back on. Please come back on. Because I like having people like critique some of my shit sometimes, because I'm not as good as I was in my 20s. Anyway, if that comes back, we'll continue. So, learning your environment is important. No matter who teaches you what, you need to find other places to train. Now, I'm not going to say go get in the middle of your driveway or your street and start training outside like that. I've done that too. I'm guilty, but don't do it. It's costly when you have to stop to let cars go through, and then you got to start all over and try to remember what the moves you were doing and stuff. So, you have to understand there are going to be kicks that are necessary, and there will be kicks that are not necessary. Kick that is necessary, front kick, boom. Side kick, boom. No. Axe kick, outside to inside crescent kick, inside to outside crescent kick. Those are your basics. Those are your survival kicks. This kick, not necessary. Reverse tornado. This kick, not necessary. Tornado kick, and this kick, not necessary. Those three kicks there are the easiest ones for somebody to evade. Whew, I should have bought some Gatorade. The thing is with those kicks is that they don't take as much energy to do as how much they draw from you once you connect. If you ever hit somebody with one of those and you don't hit them square, you're probably going to fall too. And even if you hit them square, you're probably going to fall. Understand, you got to know how fighting works. My damn nose is running. You will not do snot rockets. Okay. So understanding how fighting works is going to help you out in the long run. It's going to help you out no matter where you are, who you are, what you are. That means gender. That way, because martial arts has no gender. Martial art does not discriminate on your gender or your lifestyle. It becomes a part of you as you are a part of it. You have to accept that shit. You also have to respect every martial art and every martial artist. There are no superior martial arts. There are only superior martial artists in that art. Try to keep that in concept of your thought process, because if there was a superior martial art, again, everyone would be taking it. Again, it would be a bloodbath. So we don't want that happening. All right? What we do want is for people to understand that we, as martial artists, only fight when we have to. There are some of us, I'm also guilty of, fight because we love it, fight because it's fun, fight because we want to make sure we're as good as we say we are. All right? And here's the downside on that. As good as we say we are doesn't mean we are the best at what we do. It just means for our skill set and our skill level, that's where we're good at. Now, there will be a lot of people who can do everything you just saw me do. But just because you can do it doesn't mean you know when or how to apply it or when or where to use it. And that seems to be a lot of problems with people that we all tend to follow on the internet. And a lot of people aren't going to break it down and tell you, okay, look, here's how this works. If you get into a fight, regardless of where you are, you want to only use basics. Go let me know when you find someone who tells you that, besides me. Because this right here, save it for the ring. Also save it for the movies. I don't have a crash pad, so I'm not going to do a Shinsuke Nakamura, where I do a jumping spin kick and miss with this and kick with that. I probably still can't fucking do it anymore because of my fucking hip, but I could do it in my younger days before the Army. Yeah, there was almost nothing I really couldn't do. 180s, 360s, those are emergency moves, all right? So let me give you a reference point for you to understand what a 180 is. A 180 is if you kick with this foot and they catch it, and you take this foot and go and kick them in the face. You also call that an insecurity if you're a wrestling fan. But for the true martial artist, that's a 180. Best reference point, Brandon Lee, the movie Rapid Fire. Or, if you want a wrestling reference point, Jeff Hardy. Because he can do both. The 180 and the 360, but his 360 is actually more like a flipping escape. So, it can be done. I don't recommend it. The best for the 360, though, hands down, better than mine, better than Jeff Hardy's in my own personal opinion, is Ernie Reyes Jr. Go watch Surf Ninjas all the way through. He does it at least once. All right? So that's your reference points for if you don't know what that kick looks like. But for those who do know what that kicks look like, then I don't have to describe it to you. But just know that those are emergency kicks. And the reason why I personally call them emergency kicks is because if you get into a fight and that guy catches your foot, he's got you dead to rights unless you do something. All right? So if he catches your foot, you have two options. 180 or 360. Now, 9 times out of 10, he also has an option. So let me prepare you for his option, because if you throw this front kick and he sees you brace and go up, he's going to push your foot down, which means if you don't complete that kick, you're going to eat dirt. All right? Which also gives him the ability to get on top of you and ground and pound your shit. So when they catch your foot, you need to do that shit without hesitation. Understand how that shit works. It's not going to be in the movies where somebody's going to look at you and like, shh, shh, what you got now, sucker? I got your foot. No, hell no. Real fights don't work like that. If I got your foot, I got your foot. I'm either going to break your knee or I'm going to sweep that foot that you're standing on from under you. All right? So if you throw this kick and I catch it under here, follow through with a 180 or 360. If you throw this kick and I catch it, 180 or 360, immediately. As soon as I catch your foot, throw the kick. Because if you don't, when I catch your foot here and I got it right here, boom, I'm going to break your leg. If I don't break that, I'm going to hit like here and here. I'm going to sweep your foot from under you. I'm going to fall on top of you. I'm going to put my elbow in your crotch, and I'm going to hit you in the throat. In a matter of 40 fucking seconds, I plan on doing all that shit because a fight don't last but 3 to 5 minutes. Understand that shit. A real fight doesn't last but 3 to 5 minutes. This is why in professional fights, you have 3 5-minute rounds or 5 3-minute rounds. I don't know how that actually works, but I'm pretty sure that 3 and 5 is the two equivalents, because most real fights, if you're fighting somebody with no experience, it probably won't last but a minute. Fighting somebody with experience and you catch them on the right day, probably won't last but a minute. If you fight that same person with experience and you catch them on the wrong day for you, it probably won't be looking good for your receiving ass whooping that you are going to get. So remember, a 360 and a 180. If someone catches your foot, boom, you need to use those immediately. Because if you don't, you're going to the ground. And if you're going to the ground, they're probably going to be on top of you like stank on shit, and they're going to whoop your ass. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. They're going to whoop your ass. Again, jumping, spinning back kicks, or as Van Damme calls it, the propeller kick, foot sweeps. Foot sweeps are always questionable, but jumping, spinning back kicks, not an option. Reverse tornado, not an option. Regular tornado, not an option, because you're never going to be able to pull that shit off in time against a really good fighter. And not just a really good fighter, but a very smart fighter, a person who actually knows their way around a fight, a person who's actually been training and training and training, and especially if you're dealing with a protege, or a protege, however the fuck you say it, you're asking to get fucked up, which is why you keep that shit with basics. Now, when you have to start using like close quarters, because I left something off on purpose, I didn't want to like hype it up because I know somebody's gonna say it, so I'll say it for you. If they catch your foot and they pull you in, yes, you can use the fucking knee. Boom, you can bring that knee, because I did bring up knees and elbows. However, you got to work on their distance. If they got your leg and they didn't close in the gap, then you've got a problem, because you won't be able to get your knee to them before they can sweep your foot. But if they sweep your foot and you lift your leg and it goes under, you may be able to do something. However, working a scenario in your head doesn't always work in reality. Always remember that. That shit in your head is just that. It's in your head. When the reality strikes, it's going to be a whole different ballgame, because you have to actually be able to do what you think you can do. And you can't do what you think you can do if you don't train. And if you don't have a training partner, you won't be able to work the scenario through your head properly without getting totally fucked up. Actually trying to see if I'm being spied on, because if anybody's watching, I don't care. You know, I'm glad, willing to teach and all kinds of other stuff. But, you know, like I said, you know, you got to be able to manifest your victory by knowing how to fight in the first place. And it's not like I can't get my ass kicked with people watching my shit and learning from me right now. You know, it happens. But you have to be prepared for that. But also, I know what I'm doing. And getting beat up a little bit comes with the territory. If you can't take a hit, martial arts will change that. Also depends on which martial arts you take. So let's make sure we are clear on that. You need to be well-rounded. So if I was to talk to anybody, depending on gender, height, and ethnicity, the first place I'm going to send you is to Kung Fu. Why am I going to send you to Kung Fu or Kung Fu or Wing Chun? Because size and structure is something that I value. It don't really mean a lot to me, because the bigger you are, the harder I get to fucking hit you. Which also means I know you're going to hit me hard. And if I know you're going to hit me hard, I need to be ready for that. So I would teach Kung Fu first, because that will work up on your speed. I would teach Kempo, because that will work on where to hit someone. I would teach Wing Chun, because that will work on where to hit someone. And then maybe karate. Not so much wushu, because you're not going to be doing any of the flying. Not when the fight's real. When the fight is real, you want to keep your feet on the ground. You maybe want 1 foot off the ground, if anything. So, you know, step, boom, you know, get back, you know, in and out. Because if they're bigger than you, you don't want them grabbing you. But if they do grab you, now it's time for you to learn standing jiu-jitsu or regular jiu-jitsu versus Brazilian jiu-jitsu. All right? It's a whole lot easier to get somebody and catch them and lock them up while I'm standing. The question is, can I hold them? No. I'm 125 pounds. I'm not going to outmuscle anybody. But I can break some fucking fingers and some ankles. And that's another thing you got to understand. If you can recognize the style that is being used against you, then you could probably beat that. And that is why I took martial arts in the first place. I didn't take it to get a belt. I didn't take it to be Bruce Lee. I took it because at 6 years old, my uncles made me fight. Period. In the streets. All the damn time until I was 12. So I got enough fighting experience to last a lifetime. But what I learned while fighting is that I don't have to beat you to unalive you. It is a lot easier for me to unalive you by accident than it is for me to unalive you trying. It's a lot easier for me to unalive you by certain techniques, by recognizing what you're throwing. Standard boxing, this is southpaw stand, jab, jab. But this is also Wing Chun stand. Because Wing Chun, I was taught stand right foot first, smack, boom, you know. Same thing with Kung Fu, boom, 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 you know. For the side, so you guys can see it from the side, boom, 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 you know. That shit, those low kicks, they're always targeting at your shin or your knees, you know. So I can roll it, you know, or I can just keep it straight, block, strike, strike, you know, targeting zone. This is your targeting zone, your center line. So, you know, you have to understand how fighting works. Not everybody is immune to pain. You're fighting a Thai fighter, a real Thai fighter from Thailand. You know, the ones that stand there like this, get beat with little sticks and rods and shit so that they don't feel pain. Well, even they have a weakness. Person can't breathe, they can't hurt you. And that's the number one thing that I teach everybody. If I hit you in the throat, you can pretty much call it a day. Because if you can't breathe, you're not going to hurt me. You know, we have proven this time and time again. But most people, when they get into a fight, the first thing that they are assuming is that they're going to get hit in the face. All right? Which is pretty much apparent, you know. But it also depends on who you're fighting. You're fighting a well-trained fighter. If he's hitting you in the face, he's hitting you in the face to open you up so he can hit you somewhere else. And when he hits you somewhere else, it's going to be somewhere that's going to bring you down. All right? Unless you got those guys who are overzealous and just likes to beat the shit out of people. And you will come across them as martial artists as well. You will always come across somebody who does not play nice in the sandbox. All right? And you got to understand that. Those are the guys that you don't want knowing martial arts. All right? And the reason that is because they become bullies. A bully with power is no longer a bitch. A bully with power is a fucking bull waiting to charge. A bully with power has the ability to do more damage than someone without, you know. This is why I also have a golden rule on if I teach children. I stopped teaching boys at 16. I will teach a boy from 17 up if I learn their life. So if I'm watching them, like they turn 16, that year off, is so I can see who they become when they turn 17. If they become 17 and they start using everything I taught them to bully people, just to bully, straight bully, we're done. We're done. But if you're 16 and you're being bullied and you defend yourself with what I taught you, we're good. Then I'll have to get to know you when you become 17. Why do I take that year? Because it's really simple. A lot of shit happens between 15 and 16 years old. For school, for life, all that shit. But 17 is when you start realizing your potential. All right? Especially with martial arts. You start realizing your potential. A good teacher will keep you till you're like 21, 30 years old. I'm 48, I ain't got that kind of time. All right? Plus, after a certain age bracket, us young men get addicted to macho. And because we're macho, we don't want to do what the sensei say. All right? I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. When I was 16, I started taking Taekwondo. I had a 13-year-old who was always being unruly, but because he had a belt, I had to respect him. And me and the sensei didn't like that. And I did a lot of fucking push-ups. But at that same time, had I been 13, that 13-year-old would have really known what the difference between a fight is and school training. I'm sorry. I wasn't 13. He was 3 years younger, and I didn't want to go to jail. It's just that simple. But I would have beat his ass. I would have beat his ass. Well, when we was in school, he was like the golden nugget, and I was that little piece of charcoal that nobody really wanted to fuck with. I was so fucked up they wouldn't even throw me in the fire. But that's how the school viewed you when you had belts, which is another reason why I don't like the belt system. Is, you know, you can have a belt, but respect those under you as well as you want respect. You got to respect those that you are above belt-wise, especially if that person is grown. It's a mess of flies right there. I don't know if you guys can see that. But anyway, getting back on topic, if you are going to teach people, the best way to teach them is from here to here. Now, outside of your school, they're going to learn different shit. I don't have a problem with it. But I do have a problem with if you learn different shit and then you try to come beat my ass with it. Then you're going to find out, yeah, good to have two teachers. That new teacher can teach you how to recover after he taught you how to get fucked up. All right? If you're going to have two teachers, be respectful. Do not use what your other teacher taught you on your old teacher. Come on, it's common sense. Now, again, I will teach young girls until they're like 18, 21. And the only reason why they get the extra umph is because they're girls. And most girls don't have the physical power to outpower a boy. Unless your name is Ying Wen Chung. She was a unique individual. So I will make women into the next Ying Wen Chung. I can teach a woman who will listen versus a woman who don't want to listen and don't give a fuck. See, that generally just happens with us boys. We don't want to listen and we no longer give a fuck. So we no longer come to the sensei because we got to forge our own way. And sometimes that's necessary for growth, but sometimes growth gets you killed. So if you're going to grow properly, all right? You can always branch out, but watch how you branch out. Hopefully that made some sense because I can't see myself on the screen. But before I end this live or whatever for YouTube, just understand a few more classic pointers. All right, one, you have to understand how a fight works. You have to understand that your fighting plan in your head ain't gonna match that guy across the battlefield's fighting plan. His plan's not gonna match your plan. And if he's a little bit more skilled, you will take an L. You might not want to take that L, but you might not have a choice in that matter. You know, now if you're outnumbered, this is the place to be. That's number two. Where you are fighting is probably the most important versus who you're fighting and how you're fighting. Because where you are fighting can also set you up for the W or the L. If you're somewhere in a strange town and you don't know where you are, you don't want to go down any dead-end alleys because that's going to set you up for the L. It might even set you up for the U, which stands for unalive. All right? And in those cases, then you really got to start using lethal ordnance. All right? So, quick reminder, I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm going to tell you it anyway because if I don't, I would have failed you as a martial artist. Lethal ordnance, kill zone number 2, kill zone number 1. I don't do temples because striking someone in the temple is not impossible, but it's damn near hard to do in the midst of a fucking adrenaline rage fight. All right? But it's not that hard. Boom! Right here. This stops the breath. Before this stops the breath, this will stop the breath first. This is number 2, though. This is number 1 because you don't want to collapse someone's larynx. You don't want to snap their neck by accident, even though you're defending yourself. The cops might not see it that way because you are trained. As a vet myself, you know, I got to be real careful at how I hit someone. So my main target's always going to be the breadbasket because I'm going to be able to boom, boom, a lot quicker than trying to get you to where I can hit you in the throat. All right? However, if you are not a vet and that throat is the only target that you can reach, then go for that. I apologize profusely for the lethal ordinance, but I'm 5'3.5". I don't have time for games. I'm also 48 years old. I'm not as fast as I used to be. I might be tougher than I used to be, but I'm never going to get my speed back up to where it was before. And then I have to overcompensate for things like my hip, my age, my lack of speed. So I have to have more knowledge here to transfer to here, 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 and here. And knowing those things are going to help you more than anything else. But most importantly, basics win fights. Do not do super special shit. I'm going to shut off this computer because I know I'm about done. Thank you for coming to Kung Fu Havoc number 2. I'm Echo Fan Grey Wolf.